So, after the great news yesterday that Alabama had extended and given a raise to General Manager Courtney Morgan, Alabama fans everywhere are treated to more fantastic news today, as it was just announced that five-star running back out the state of Mississippi, Akylin Dear, had committed to Alabama today. We need to talk about this. We need to break down why Dear is such an intriguing talent, what this means for Alabama's recruiting class, and everything in between. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited that Akland Dear commits to Alabama? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And first and foremost, as we always do on these recruiting videos, who is Akland Dear? Well, as I alluded to in the intro, he is a five-star running back out the state of Mississippi who stands 6'1", 200 pounds, and if we look at the 24/7 Sports composite, he comes in as the number 31 player in the nation, the number 2 running back in the nation, and the number 3 player in the state of Mississippi. Now, it is important to note that if you look at 24/7 Sports rankings in and of themselves, he may be just outside of five-star territory, but he is also considered the number 1 running back in the nation. And the reason why I give that to you is to just highlight how incredibly gifted this guy is. At 6'1", 200 pounds, he moves like an elusive back would move, but he brings the power to the table that you would expect with someone of his stature. And because of that, he is truly an every down back. There are a few things that when you turn on the film, you have got to love about Akland Dear. First and foremost is the vision. Secondly is the one-cut ability. This is a guy that can pick out where he wants to go, make the correct decision, and if someone goes to fill the gap, he can make that cut and he is gone. He's also got intriguing speed for someone of his size. I mean, this is a guy that's going to be able to keep defenses on their heels because they know if they make one wrong decision, he's gone. He is a home run hitting back. And possibly the thing I love the most about Akland Dear, something we talk about all the time with these prospects, it's great to have the long speed, which he does. He also has the power. He's got the vision. He's elusive. He's got that one-cut ability, but he has an ability to accelerate and decelerate, and we talk about that consistently here on the channel. Because whenever you look at guys that have that ability, they can get up to top speed faster than everybody else on the field and can shift gears more fluidly than everybody else, they are real tough to deal with, and he is one of those guys. So when you combine all of those factors, it makes complete sense why 24/7 Sports Composite has him as a five-star prospect and a top 5 player in his position and in his state. He brings an intriguing skill set. And now Alabama gets to partner he with Anthony Turbo Rogers. And to me, that's an incredibly dynamic duo. Turbo Rogers is one of those guys that in this Akylin Dear offense is going to be a ton of fun to watch. But now being able to pair him with Akland Dear, who is a do-it-all type back, it's exactly what Robert Gillespie was after. And whenever we talk about Robert Gillespie, we have to acknowledge that taking 2 running backs per cycle, that's just kind of the norm for him. You look at Jam Miller, Emmanuel Henderson. Emmanuel Henderson ends up being a wide receiver, someone many Alabama fans are excited to see this season. Certainly I'm in that camp. But then you fast forward. You have Justice Haynes, Richard Young, last cycle. You have Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, and now Akland Dear, Turbo Rogers. Robert Gillespie is one of the best recruiters in all of college football. Remember, not long ago we sat down and went through the list of prospects that he has successfully had his hand in or been involved in the process of getting them to Alabama, and it's an incredibly impressive list. You're talking about running backs, you're talking about defensive ends. Anyone who Alabama really wants, they almost point to Robert Gillespie and say, go get him, and he usually does. He was even involved in the Keon Keeley saga. So whenever you're able to retain a Robert Gillespie, a Freddie Roach, 2 guys who all of these publications to be considered to be some of the best recruiters in the nation, that's a big deal. That's compelling, and there's a reason why I bring it to your attention every single time we talk about a Freddie Roach, every single time we talk about a Robert Gillespie. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but the biggest question for Akylin Dear is, could you recruit? Being able to retain a Gillespie, a Freddie Roach, bringing in a Courtney Morgan, those are all compelling factors. And as we currently sit here and talk, we must now acknowledge what this means for Alabama's recruiting class going forward. As we currently sit, the addition of Dear only furthers Alabama's lead as the number 2 class in the nation. They now have 20 prospects and a score of 303, just behind Ohio State, but actually eclipsing Ohio State in average player rank. This Alabama class is elite. There are only 2 recruiting classes in the top 20 classes in the nation that can say that they have 20 or less recruits and still be ranked inside the top 10. That's Oregon and that's Alabama. So to question Akylin Dear's recruiting ability at the point where he was hired, I understood. But to question it now, that's just nonsensical. And we loop back to a topic that I hear so many times before, and that's the in-state recruiting that Alabama has experienced. But one of the things I've always said is that when it comes to in-state recruiting, experience and relationships are key. Alabama doesn't have the luxury of having a year-long relationship with a lot of these prospects. And then when even we dive deeper into in-state recruiting, it's far more nuanced than many people would have you believe. You had a guy who I think is incredibly gifted in Derek Smith who wanted to play wide receiver. Alabama liked him at defensive back. You had a guy in Coleman who had flipped multiple times and now is back flipped to the Auburn Tigers. So while Auburn, yes, is doing an incredible job with in-state recruiting, they also have the benefit of having a head guy that's been in the state for a year, that's been in these kids' ear for a year, whereas Alabama is new. And still, even though Alabama is new, they further their lead as the number 2 recruiting class in the nation. So what comes next for Alabama recruiting? Well, given the fact that Jaden Harmon just recently flipped from Alabama to Tennessee, I would expect Ty Jackson be the guy that so many Alabama fans out there are sitting back, watching, and wondering, will we be able to get that big win? And great news is it was announced via Twitter that Ty Jackson actually intends to visit Alabama here very soon, making it important for Alabama to knock that visit out of the park because he is a phenomenally gifted prospect. And if you're able to pair he with Duke Johnson, with Abdul Sanders, with Luke Metz, that Alabama linebacking class is insane, and it would only be furthered with the addition of Ty Jackson. But I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. The addition of Akylin Dear is a massive addition. And before we get out of here, let's acknowledge this. Alabama now has 6 5-star recruits in the class of 2025, an absolutely incredible feat, and should excite Alabama fans everywhere. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.